pride him did preach. To the young we must teach. Put Gav in reality. Make we check him philosophy. Talking about African dignity. In a this insanity. Talking about our history that began before slavery. Come children, say it loud. Make them know we're still black and proud. Scabba-dabba-da.
Hey, Webmaster here. I stay connected to Freedom with the Freedom SKN app. Simply search for the Freedom app in the Android's Play Store or the Apple's App Store and download it. Enjoy world-class radio at its best, anytime, anywhere. Become a Freedom apper today.
Now loans, cash at the speed of life, so fast you won't believe it. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, right now, right now. If you need cash in a flash with now, no need to fuss, leave it to us. When you need cash in a flash, no need to fuss, leave it to us. Hear me now. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, so fast you won't believe it. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, right now, right now. Approved in a day, yeah, yeah. Some money on the way, yeah, yeah. Approved in a day, oh, yeah, you know it's coming.
When life throws surprises your way, now's here to help. Whether it's for an urgent bill payment, home improvements, or unexpected health expenses, or even that last-minute holiday trip. With Now, you get cash in a flash, approved in just 24 hours.
Approved in a day, yeah, yeah. Some money on the way, yeah, yeah. Approved in a day, oh, yeah, you know it's coming. Now, loans, cash at the speed of life, so fast you won't believe it. Now, loans, cash at the speed of life, right now, right now.
A loan product powered by National Bank.
For life's finest moments, celebrate them with Skol Premium Lager. Pure malt, pure class, pure perfection. Skol, class and perfection in a bottle.
Reliable, dependable, Delta.
If you live here in St. Kitts and your tank on E, there's only one place that you should be. Maybe driving in Nevis and you need some fuel. Go straight to Delta. Don't be a fool. Get your cooking gas fast. All petroleum needs ULSD. Everyone in the region is shouting, Go Delta. Premium gasoline in a fully stocked C-store. So there's only one place you should be. Delta Petroleum, baby.
What if your money did more than sit in an account? What if it built dreams, supported families, and empowered futures? At St. Kitts Credit Union, we're more than a financial institution. We're a family that believes in your potential, rooted in people helping people. Enjoy competitive savings rates and low-interest loans for mortgages, vehicles, education, and more. Need security for you or your loved ones? The Family Indemnity Plan and Loan Protection Insurance give your loved ones peace of mind, whether you're saving for school, building your business, or planning for tomorrow. SKCU is here for you. It's not just about banking, it's about belonging. Contact us at 465-2272 or any of our branches. Learn more online at www.skccu.com. Become a member today and be a part of something greater.
Hey, Webmaster here. I stay connected to Freedom with the Freedom SKN app. Simply search for the Freedom app in the Android's Play Store or the Apple's App Store and download it. Enjoy world-class radio at its best, anytime, anywhere. Become a Freedom apper today.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:43 in the p.m. in St. Kitts and Nevis. It is another Caribbean day. Today in St. Kitts, it is cloudy. It's cloudy. It's warm, but yet breezy. As I've always told you, we are blessed with the breeze coming from the Caribbean Sea and from the Atlantic Ocean. I suspect we are going to have some rain later on. And of course, we like the rain, particularly those of us who do farming. And after all, we have had a very hot summer. You are listening to Freedom FM 106.5, and we boast, and our listeners say to us, we are world-class radio at its best. This is Issues with your host, Coach Adrien, and it's always great to have you on my show. Just before we begin, I want to big up the organizers of the breast cancer walk on Saturday. And I tell you that I have been to a few of them, but this one, to me, was the largest that I have seen. I estimate perhaps about 6 to perhaps 7 or 800 people. It was beautiful. And then I saw the Defense Force, and almost every section of the population was represented. Now that is beautiful. It is not simply awareness now. Now it sends the message to me. It is participation. We are all joined in the effort of fighting this plague. Yesterday, perhaps on a lighter side, I can let you know. Yesterday, the St. Lucian, all St. Lucian living in St. Kitts, well, most of them, we had a lovely time. We celebrated Journée Creole at the Oasis in St. Peter's. And let me tell you, guys, it was great. It was fun. It was beautiful. A lot of eating, a lot of drinking, a lot of games, and a lot of meeting of persons, and a lot of celebration St. Lucian style. I was blessed. I enjoyed, and there was too much to eat, too much to drink. I just want to big up the organizers, the Faisal family in particular. Guys, I am so happy that you made your facilities available, and we enjoyed it. Oh, that was great. But I don't want to really single out anybody, but I mean the queens and the princesses who really contributed to making that day such a magnificent day. A few of them, Janelle, Martina, and the rest of them. We want to say just thank you. We want to say that we are very happy that you all guys sacrificed a lot, and you all made yesterday a unique one. I have been to many St. Lucian events. This one was the top. Thank you very much. Now, let's do some housekeeping before we introduce our topic. We will include the issues that we want to discuss on the CBI. You remember I promised us a case study on the CBI. I want to include this in the 2026 budget discussion. So I'm going to leave it out and include it as part of the discussion. And that's important because the CBI is critical, it's the critical line item in the financing of the budget. So at that time, we will discuss it. I think we will have more than one discussion or one show on the budget. I suspect that, maybe 2 or 3. Secondly, we will hold back. You remember the policy options that you asked me. What are the policy options available to the government that is to address its fiscal space difficulty? Are we going to leave that also as part of the discussion of the 2026 budget? So we are going to leave. That's why I tell you, I suspect we are going to have 2 or 3 shows to discuss the budget, because I'm also making plans for us to have 2 representatives, perhaps one of the Labour Party and one of the People's Action Movement, to discuss, to be on one of the particular show for us to discuss the budget. I am doing my research and making my contacts to find the resource persons, so to give them enough time. Today, we go back to the series, The New Global Economic Order. Next week, as I promised, we will talk about the World Economic Report. I told you that the World Economic Report issued twice a year in April and October. The October one is out. I received a copy, and I promise you that next week we are going to discuss it. As I told you, it is most of the report is bad news. Our issue today, U.S. immigration policy has shifted from liberty to hostility. In fact, on our social media promo, we said that we caption it or we build it as U.S. foreign policy, U.S. immigration policy threatens Caribbean economic and social stability. Let's get into the issue. As we speak, there are travel bans on citizens of 12 countries. That is, travel bans on entering the United States. The U.S. has initiated mass deportation of undocumented immigrants. That is, people who are, quote unquote, staying in America or in America illegally or without the permission to do so. So they have initiated that, particularly since January, but the movement is happening at very rapid pace now as we speak. In fact, just yesterday, there was a mass deportation of persons back to India. On the 23rd of January 2025, that's this year of course, the U.S. Supreme Court cleared the way for the mass deportation, not just mass deportation, but mass deportation to third countries, meaning that, as I'll explain later on, persons who are arrested or persons who are held up and for occupying America, as I said, without the legal documents, the American government has the power, according to the power given unto them by the U.S. Supreme Court, to send them back to their country, their home country, or to a third country. A third country meaning that a country that is not America, that's the first. The second country is your home country. The third country is any other country which have accepted to have you. We will discuss that in greater detail later on. Some 170 billion US dollars from the last budget is allocated for that purpose, the purpose of getting rid of undocumented persons or immigrants in America. The goal is to detain about 116,000 per day, and the target was 1 million per year. That is to detain or to arrest 116,000 per day and to deport 1 million per year. I do not think that they are close to the target, but they are, mass deportation is going on at very high speed. On October 4th, and I'm quoting that, the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, reported that, and I quote, 2 million unauthorized immigrants have left the U.S. in 2025, end of quote. DHS also reported, and I quote, roughly 1.6 million of these people, 1.6 million voluntary departed, and over 400,000 were deported. And the last quotation, DHS said, and I quote, we are on track to total 600,000 deportations during President Trump's first year in office, end of quote. DHL, 5th October 2025. So I told you that the deportation train is in high speed. It is in high gear. And if you have a laptop and if you have your phone, you would see it is blinking on in your face every moment. You can keep track of it. And also there is a tracker on MSN. You can keep track of the number of people who are deported. Just like there was a tracker, there were several trackers for the COVID-19. So if you are serious, it is there. You don't have to wait for somebody to tell you. You don't have to wait for me to come and speak about that. This is the news, and this is the daily news you have to keep abreast with. Whether you want to keep abreast with it or not, it's happening, and whether you think A or B about it, it is happening, and there is nothing there is nothing that I can do to alter that. That's very, very important. Now, here is just a little case study of what I call, based on the deportation, what I call the case study of hell on earth. A picture I call of human trafficking. Undocumented people are taken or raided at home, on the job, at school, at church, on the highway, at the stoplight, at the hospital, on the performing stage, at the supermarket, at the border, at immigration, at the court hearings, while seeking asylum, in refugee camps, or are taken out of legal protection. You understand that? Now, what I am reading here, I'm not just giving a story, This is exactly what is happening there. This is what is happening here. And I'll repeat it again. People, undocumented people, are hunted. They are raided. They are taken or raided. Raid is what they use. At home, on the job, at school, at church, on the highway, at the stoplight, at hospital, on the performing stage, at supermarket, at the border, at immigration, at court hearings, while seeking asylum, in refugee camps, or are taken out of legal protection. And they are sent to one of 398 detention facilities spread all over the 50 states. Some detainees are returned to their country, that is the second country, or sent to third countries, that is third countries which have agreements with the U.S. to take deportees. And as I speak now, those were confirmed. Kosovo, El Salvador, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama, Honduras, Colombia, Mexico, Rwanda, South Sudan, Libya, Uganda, and others. Now, this, I say, is a kind of modern-day slavery, which I call hell on earth. Why do I call it hell on earth? Here is the detail. The deportee may be a St. Lucian, a Barbadian, a Jamaican, a Grenadian, a Guyanese, a Kititian, an Indian, a Pakistani, a Canadian, any one of them, who are unfortunate enough, I say unfortunate enough, to be raided, captured, arrested, or kidnapped with just his or her clothes and personal effects on. Now get that very clear. When they capture you, what you have on you is your clothes and your personal effects. Maybe your phone, your wallet, your this. The ladies will have their bags and this and whatever. Mind you, this person, if it's a man, he leaves behind all that he had. Remember, you are raided, you are taken, you are arrested. When you are taken, you don't go back home. You go straight to the detention center. So he leaves behind, in some cases, a spouse, children, family, friend, community, monies, whether it is his bank account, or his investment, or if he has real property, or his stocks and bonds in the U.S. Get that very clear. When you are raided, they don't give you a chance for you to go and settle those kind of stuff. They don't give you a chance to bring closure to this kind of stuff. No, you are illegal. In other words, you are criminal. You have committed a crime. So you are taken straight. All these are left behind. All these tying up, that is your business. That's not their concern. Now, this man, therefore, just picture it. This man is sent to survive, if he can, or to die slowly and painfully, particularly if he's sent to a third country. The victim of deportation, do your homework. They include undocumented immigrants. They include persons deemed to be a threat to the U.S., persons with criminal records, political refugees, economic refugees, Christian refugees, and asylum seekers. Now, there is no passion or compassion for who you are when you are seeking political refugee, you are seeking economic refuge and this, or you are Christian, you are seeking refugee because you are under persecution. All this playing field has changed. That has changed. Now, picture that same man that I'm talking about, whether he's from Barbados or St. Lucia or St. Kitts or Jamaica or whatever, or Guyana. This man is still a man. He is not a thing. He is a man. He is not a thing. But you said he has committed a crime, but he's still a man. He is made in the image of God, because all men are made in the image of God except you accept evolution. And God said to the country where he lives, whether it is St. Lucia, St. Kitts, and Grenada, but in that context we're talking about America, the foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love him as yourself. And I'm quoting that from Leviticus chapter 19, verse 44. Now, what's the point I'm making? God gave clear directives that even the aliens that come into your border, and St. Kitts is very nice on that. St. Kitts is a very, you can call St. Kitts is a paradise. You come to St. Kitts, and St. Kitts beholds and holds and loves everyone. Of course, St. Kitts has to protect itself and its citizens. But, in other words, the point is, when strangers come into your borders, particularly if they are seeking refuge, whether it is economic refuge, political refuge, Christian refuge, or whatever, asylum, you are not to bullrag them, enslave them, treat them badly. Why? Because they are made in the image of God, and God demands that they be treated with love and respect. And I remember when the Haitians came and the others, the government did very nicely on that. And of course, there is international law that protects that demands that we take care of people and we treat. Now, of course, this can be very overbearing to take care of people who are in those situations. It can be overbearing on the coffer, on the treasury of the country. It can be overbearing, and that is why we see in international community, a lot of countries are hostile towards refugees. I mean, as we speak, Pakistan is making sure that they send thousands of Afghans back to the country and whatever. And of course, Europe they are balling because it's a place where a lot of refugees, people from South, people from Asia, and so that is true. But God has commanded that we do not treat them inhumanely. So here is a parting word, a parting question that I am just asking for you to think about. I don't want an answer for you. I'm not giving you an answer. I'm not making a judgment. I don't need a judgment from you. One, is America the gentle lamb of Revelation 13 becoming a ruined beast? That's all I have to ask. Let us move on. Let us move on. So, what is the reality? What is the reality? But I want to just let you know that you if you wish to participate, you can. The line is open. You can call. You can call anytime and make your contribution. Give us your education. You can give us your comfort. Give us your direction. Give us your advice. Share your experience. You are listening to Freedom FM 106.5. Just before I continue, that I'm letting you know, if you wish to call, if you wish to participate in those issues, if there are some counsels, if there are some comfort you can give, because this issue is affecting everyone. Some of us more than others. Some of us, as we speak, we have our mother, our father, our brother, our uncle, our cousin who are in America and they are there illegally. In fact, I have a lot of friends and a lot of relatives out there. I can tell you that. Friends, I'm telling you that. And I do not know how they are faring. I have my people, my children. My children are citizens, so my children are okay. But they give me the stories. They also tell me about their friends. They tell me what is happening. And some people call me and we speak. Let me tell you something. We cannot be insensitive to that. We cannot be insensitive to that. When something happens like that to one of our brothers and sisters, we are to be compassionate. It can happen to you, and it is happening to the region as we speak. Okay, so the number to call is 662-1065, 465-6474 or 465-0546. So the number to call again, 662-1065, 465-6474 or 465-0546. So let us continue. What is the reality with respect to Caribbean migrants in the U.S.? What is the reality for us in the Caribbean? What it says to us is that no more risking of going on a 6-month visitor's visa and going for holidays and hoping that while you are on holidays that you will attempt to work and to make an income and then return home after 6 months. These have been some of the practices that, in fact, from the time I'm growing up, I know this is done. Now, it would be very risky to think of doing that now. Some people are very daring, some people are daring, but that would be very risky to do now. In fact, I should say it this way, you wouldn't dare do that. Very few will attempt, of course, to get a job or someone else's social security number while living in America. I know of some people who do that. They go to America, they don't have a social security number, but they use other person's social security number and they seek to get employment. In the good days that happen. Now, to me, it would be very suicidal to do something like that now. Why? Because every thousands and thousands of immigration and custom enforcement officers are out there looking out, and they are out there raiding, and they are out there looking for those who are undocumented. You wouldn't dare do that. That's what I say. My American friends tell me that an undocumented person is very vulnerable. Leaving his home, even going job hunting, because he could be ID'd at the traffic lights. That's what somebody called me and tell me. He could be, of course, as I said, he could be ID'd at the school. And even, as I said before, going to church, or even in the church, or in a club. ICE could raid the workplace, and they do raid the workplace. They do raid the workplace. So you don't want to take those kind of chances. And not only that, I mean, the Caribbean is a beautiful place. The Caribbean is not just a zone of peace. The Caribbean is a paradise. I mean, you may not have the wealth and the riches of those of the more wealthier countries, but you have the wealth and the peace that nobody can put a price on. You don't have to turn back when you're walking. You can jog anytime, you can walk anytime, you can go anywhere once you're not trespassing on somebody's property. Look, nobody's going to stop you. If you don't break the law on the road, you drive and you enjoy yourself. Nobody stops you indiscriminately. It's a beautiful place. So therefore, there is a beauty, there is a freedom that is priceless in the Caribbean. I hope that we understand that, and then we do not trade that, and then we suffer the cost, the consequence for it. They have nothing to say that the one cannot seek greener pastures. That's not the issue that I'm making at all. Because people are free to look for greener pastures. It's part of your cycle of development. It is part of your cycle of growth. It's your growth. You decide what you want to do, where you're going to pursue your career, and what are the different journeys that you're going to use in pursuing your career. What are the locations that are in keeping with the career path that you have identified for yourself. Yes, that is okay. But always remember, nobody is more free in his home country. And not only that, the Caribbean becomes a home country, even when you are not in your particular country. But there is a peace, there is a sense of freedom that is priceless. Let's take, for example, the OECS. We have made greater strides than the larger CARICOM area. We can travel in there, we can travel free, we can stay in the different countries. It's a free zone for us. No one is going to take advantage of you because you are a Grenadian living in St. Lucia, because you are Vincentian living in Antigua. This is the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it. That is the beauty. So whether we want to admit it or not, undocumented persons or persons on visitors' visa, they do work in the United States. Yes, they do work in the United States. Yes, okay. Somebody is... You on air, please? You on air?
Good
Afternoon, sir. Your phone is breaking up. Maybe you are in the wind. Go to a place where we can hear you nicely.
Yeah, sir.
Driving or you are in the wind?
No. Me home. You hear me better?
Yeah, we hearing you better now. Yes, take your time.
Much better. Okay. Listen here. Pertaining to the prophecy quote in the Revelation of America, no. Right? Because American prophecy like what we say. You get that?
Yeah, I'm following you. Take your time. I'm following you.
Right. Anyway, let's deal with the illegal people and them. Now, you may quote and say that like the Bible say and how we they're supposed to thing, but Adrien, the Bible also say if you break earthly rules, you automatically break heavenly rules. You know the part too?
Go on. I take in notes, man. You go on, man.
Right. So guess what? Seeking refuge are one completely different thing than illegal. If you go seek refuge, then you go find some kind of counselor and say, well, where you come from, you have to run away from the area there because whatsoever, whether it be a gang, the government, whatsoever, and your life is in danger, so you seek refuge. So there we know you get help of restoring your life. It's a completely different thing now than, let me say, whether me going legal and then overstay or me going illegal. That's completely different, right? Now, Adrien, you're amazing because you got people that find that every year in America, they used to go by friends and family. But as Adrien, you know, the same people, are the same, are we Caribbean people that got the, let me say, the right way and settle in. Adrien, them themselves now start to make nice. With you know that got them now overseas illegal and them turn around and want to fix it.
That's good. I agree. I noticed that. I know about that. Yes.
Yeah. You get that?
Man, yeah, man.
And even them come here, you nice them. When they come here, when we can talk to one shot, and you nice them, you treat them nice. Man, then give you the phone number, then give you this, then give you, and they tell you, look, when you ready, come. Adrien, by the time you reach up the 2 weeks, face and start to change. You get that? Let me tell you something. You better start to look for head back to your quarters or venture out. So, me say all this, you know, for say this. Sometimes we have to make up our mind what we want, yeah? And what me say, you know, this not mean that broad brush on every family, right? Everybody. But on a broader scale, this is the problem. Now we have to make up our mind what we actually want and what we actually think. Because straight and right, straightforward, what they want.
Okay.
He said, look, before he gets there, these are the things though that he put out and say he are going to do. You get that?
Yeah.
The voters go to the poll, what the majority vote for. They vote for that. So now that he know a perform what he is going to do and the masses of the people okay, carry out your mandate. Adrien, you know, really see what the crime is all about. The whole time is about it. And let me even get back to the scripture. The scripture.
Yeah, you have to go fast.
Yeah. Okay. Let me let from there, because you see this is one ticklish and heated argument. And if you just look at one area, you'll get lit. Listen to me. You have to look at all different angles, anything dealing with the subject, that's just there. You get to mention, say, you have to look right around. 360 degrees, not just one single opinion. Otherwise, you're going to get plenty leaks. Okay, then, Adrien.
Okay, thanks very much. Thank you, caller. Thank you. Now, the caller made some points there. Of course, there are one or two issues that I perhaps just want to elaborate or respond on. The first one, the refugee, the undocumented immigrants. When I go to the States, I play by the rules. They give me 6 months. Normally, I don't stay 6 months. I mean, generally, if I go to the States, about a month for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I come back. And, well, I have no right to be an illegal person in America because, one, I love the Caribbean. My soul is in the Caribbean. First of all, my heart is in St. Lucia. The St. Lucian blood flow through me. Then I love St. Kitts so much, nobody can take me out of St. Kitts. And I'm going to be in St. Kitts. Nobody can touch me because they love me too. The people love me. They don't want me out. So these two places, I walk how I want. I enjoy myself how I want. People love me. They give me this. They love me this, whatever. So this is priceless for me. So when I go, I must come back. I always come back. And furthermore, I have my ties here. I have my ties here. And thirdly, I'm not going to America seeking to work. I don't go with no intention to work. I go to enjoy myself, see my family, see my children, and come back. That's whatever. Now, we should have a responsibility. Our first responsibility is to abide by the law of the country. That is clear. Whether it is St. Kitts, whether it is St. Lucia, whether it is Grenada, whether it is Canada, whether it is Japan, whether it is China, you have to abide by the rules of the country. If you don't abide, you are criminal. And that's important now. That's important. Now get me very clear. So I am not saying that we have to encourage people willingly to violate the law. You cannot do that. And if you have a sense of decency, and if you have pride in yourself, if you are a man or a woman, if you know your worth, your identity, if you know your roots and your legacy, and if you understand understand what it means for your standing within your family tree and your family line. You don't let people treat you like trash. No, you're not going to do that. You are a Jones, you are a Smith, you are a Harry, you are a James, you are a this, because you were something. And furthermore, you are made in the image of God. So that's the first thing. But notwithstanding, the Bible still stands. The Bible does not give you the power for you to violate people's jurisdiction, but the Bible still stands. Jesus Christ says it. It's right from the book of Genesis way down to Revelation. If the person happens to be in your country, an international law, international human rights protect that, safeguard that. If not, the law of the jungle would reign in the city. We would kill people like dogs. And Peter comes into St. Kitts, and he happens to be illegal. You are not to treat him like a dog. You are not to treat him like a cat. You are not to bull-rag him and dehumanize him. Jesus Christ, the Bible, God says that. And I quoted Leviticus. If you do that, the Bible, those who believe in the Bible, God says he will stand for the person. Now, when God stands for the person, you can't win. I don't know of anybody who take a fight with God and win. You can't win. You cannot do that. So that's very important. The next point that he makes is, he said generally when the Caribbean people go to a foreign country, whether Canada, expanding it, whether the UK, whether America. In fact, some of them who have established themselves there, even in pockets of the Caribbean that used to happen, who have established themselves there, they begin to behave hostile to the new entrants. I have not seen any of them behave hostile to me, but I have seen the attitude. And then, so people from the Caribbean living in America, and the fella asked me, I can never forget that. He said to me and my wife, "You all guys are from the islands?" I said, "But why don't you shut up? You from Guyana?" He said, "Yes, you're from Guyana." I said, "Why don't you shut up? So you have become so American, you want to differentiate us." Well, Caribbean people do that. I think that's a legacy, that's a left behind of the plantation. That is the field slave and the house slave. So, having established themselves in America, they see themselves as the house slave. And the house slave does not like competition. So as soon as another field slave gets up there, even if it's not threatening to him or her, you want to make sure that you don't enjoy the same privilege. That is very sad. That black people can be black people's worst enemy. That is terrible, terrible. Now, it's projected and anticipated that the combined effect of all this immigration shifting policy is going to have adverse effect on household in the Caribbean in the sense of the windfall. You know, the changes that are taking place in America, in fact, are creating pockets, large pockets of unemployment, joblessness. In fact, the last data that I saw, it says that as a combined effect of the new immigration policy or the varied policy of the new government, more black people are getting out of work, or more black people are losing jobs than white people now. This can have an impact on us in the Caribbean in the sense that the windfall that I am speaking about is the monies that each household or particular household, whether in St. Vincent, in Grenada, in St. Lucia, in St. Kitts or Jamaica, whatever, that you receive, we call that remittances. You receive from your people, and either it comes through Western Union or so and so, or the if it's not cash, the barrels that you get, the clothing, the food, and the this and that. Of course, if they are unemployed, and remember, North America, it's very expensive to live there because it's not like here. If you don't pay your rent, this month, you don't pay next month, and you're looking for the landlord and you're running and hiding and whatever. You can't do that up there. When you come back, you don't pay your rent. Your stuff on the outside. And you got to find a place. You have to go to the Y or find some place to get some. And you better don't do that in winter because you're going to sleep outside. So the fact is that there is likely to be less disposable income for some of your persons living in America. And of course, it might affect the volume that you get, that is the volume of cash that you receive and the kind that you get. Outside of that windfall, the remittances may actually fall sharply. It may even fall sharply. In fact, what I was told from the meetings that I have had with the business community a few months ago, the conventional wisdom is that just as the local market, that is here, the St. Kitts market, expect to see the cumulated price increases, that is with respect to the tariffs, the taxes on imports, beginning to be felt around Christmas time and the New Year. So according to the procurement managers and whatever that I spoke with, we expect to begin to feel the cumulative effect of the price increase around Christmas and New Year. Now, the same way, it is anticipated that the changes in remittances that I just spoke about, whether you're going to get less barrel or fewer things in the barrel, or less monies coming through Western Union or through unofficial, informal couriers, it may be the conventional wisdom is maybe we can gauge that by Christmas or New Year when we expect that flow of cash and barrels and the time when the barrels usually escalate. So that will help us to know what is happening. For example, so by Christmas, New Year, you should see the difference in price gallop a little at the supermarket. You should be able to see those who are getting remittances. You get a sense of whether you are getting the same or you getting less from Western Union. And then, of course, you get a sense of whether the barrels are coming, and if they are coming, whether they have as much as before or whether you don't get them at all. Of course, remittances in the Caribbean is very, very, very important to the Caribbean household. Extremely important, particularly in countries like Jamaica. In fact, that stands out in the report. Of course, that is because you have larger proportion or percentage of those people living overseas. And there are some countries in particular, Jamaica is one of them. There are some, and St. Kitts is also like that. There are some countries that have very strong family ties, extremely strong family ties. So, for example, if one gets a piece of gold, he shares the gold with the rest of the family. And from the time that I come to St. Kitts, I see that kind of thing. Now, we are not very strong on that in St. Lucia. We're not very strong on that. In fact, the typical St. Lucian, if he goes to New York and he gets a good job, he enjoys himself and he lives in heaven, and then he waits when he gonna come back a year or 5 years or 10 years after, and then he tells you how good the life is up there, and he brings the different wardrobe to show you, and this and that. And of course, in the community, particularly you're like me, if you live in the countryside, he puts all on the wardrobe, all on the fashion, and then of course he stands out away from you. But in St. Kitts, the beautiful thing I've always loved with this country, and it is so also in Jamaica. I lived in Jamaica for 3 years. If the uncle, the cousin, the brother, the sister, the mother, the father goes there and he gets the grass is greener, he opens the way for the flood of those who are at home to come and also to feel the benefit through remittances. And these are some things that I really love about St. Kitts. I appreciate the people from that sense of strong family tie. And I remember when we were at university, I used to comment on that. I used to love Kittitians for that. You find that, and I can remember, I'm going to give you a simple example. When I was at Mona, University in Mona, in Jamaica, doing postgraduate work, I can never forget that. Ruth Thomas, she was up there doing, I think, postgraduate work in education. And that's very same year when the Leeward Islands did a clean sweep in the Shell Shield. And at that time, of course, I think they were playing against Jamaica. At Sabina Park. She and the other Kittitians, they round up the students from the islands. They round up the students. And we had to go with them. Where? To go where? We had to go to the match. They took us to the match. Why? Because I remember she said, you have to come and see Luther Kelly. And she wasn't saying in St. Lucia we say Luther. She was saying Luther Kelly. And that is how I got to see Kelly for the first time. Now, what's the point I'm making? That when they are overseas, they stick together. They work, they support one another, and they support their local interests. That is magnificent. That is something that is beautiful with this country. So remittances, particularly cash remittances, for us in the Caribbean, they pay mortgages, they pay rent, they pay debt, they take care of medical expenses, they pay school fees, they pay for the food, they pay for electricity bills, and they pay child support. That's very, very critical. So when we are talking about what is likely to happen to remittances, this is not just simply a joke. It's a serious matter that we have to ponder on, because the different developments that are taking place in the U.S. as we speak, it is going to affect. In fact, let me just tell you, the new rule in the United States is by January 2026, every cash remittance or cash dollar that is sent as remittance through one of the official channel like Western Union, 1% tax, U.S. tax, will be levied on that. So not only is that the remittance is likely to be smaller, but the remittance will be taxed as at January 2026. This is the reality. This is the world that we are living in now. So what is the point? What is the greater point that we are taking? We are saying that the playing field has changed. We are saying that the playing field has changed. There is no more going to our favorite state to give birth to an American baby who will enjoy the privileges of education and career development. But of course, the birthright debate still goes on, and there are a number of states that you can still go and do that. But of course, the issue is being debated, and very soon the Republicans or the government will take that to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to make a decision. And when it goes to the Supreme Court, you have to watch it. Not very good news is coming out there for illegal people. The Supreme Court have been very, very nice and very rigid on those things, on those issues. 2, getting a U.S. visa is now very costly and selective, with high application fees, of course, increased screening, and not mentioning the high cost of traveling and accommodation to do that. On top of that, in addition to that, the U.S. is imposing what they call a visa bond of up to U.S. $15,000 on certain countries, and that started since August 20, 2025. And of course, it is a discretionary penalty imposed on any applicant deemed likely to overstay. The interviewing officer, I guess, would do that. But of course, some countries are more targeted than others. And we would hope, from the list that I saw, Caribbean countries had not been named. The countries that had been named were more South or more African countries. But the discretionary power is there for the interviewing officer. The bond amount will be determined, of course. Remember, we said it's a minimum of 15,000. They can bring it higher, they can put it lower, whatever. But that's a floor. It's a floor of 15,000. The bond amount will be determined at the time of the visa interview, and if the applicant complies with the visa terms that you are given. That is, for visitor's visa, you have 6 months to stay and don't work and stuff. Then at the end, it is said, when you're ready to go back, your bond amount will be refunded. And I wish you very good luck to get that bond money. That's all I can say. Who am I to know more than that? Green card processing, of course, is being revised and will certainly become more restrictive according to some of the regulations that I have researched. Now, so you see, the difficulties. Let's take an advertisement break before I go into the next section. Let's take an advertisement break. When we come back, we will open the lines, and before I go to the next section. Thank you.
Now loans, cash at the speed of life, so fast you won't believe it. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, right now, right now. If you need cash in a flash with now, no need to fuss, leave it to us. When you need cash in a flash, no need to fuss, leave it to us. Hear me now. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, so fast you won't believe it. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, right now, right now. Approved in a day, yeah, yeah. Some money on the way, yeah, yeah. Approved in a day, oh, yeah, you know it's coming.
When life throws surprises your way, now's here to help. Whether it's for an urgent bill payment, home improvements, or unexpected health expenses, or even that last-minute holiday trip. With Now, you get cash in a flash, approved in just 24 hours.
Approved in a day, yeah, yeah. Some money on the way, yeah, yeah. Approved in a day, oh, yeah, you know it's coming. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, so fast you won't believe it. Now loans, cash at the speed of life, right now, right now.
A loan product powered by National Bank.
For life's finest moments, celebrate them with Skol Premium Lager. Pure malt, pure class, pure perfection. Skol, class and perfection in a bottle.
Reliable, dependable, Delta. If you live here in St. Kitts and your tank on E, there's only one place that you should be. Maybe driving in Nevis and you need some fuel. Go straight to Delta. Don't be a fool. Get your cooking gas fast. All petroleum needs ULSD. Everyone in the region is shouting, go Delta. Premium gasoline in a fully stocked C-store. So there's only one place you should be. Delta Petroleum, baby.
What if your money did more than sit in an account? What if it built dreams, supported families, and empowered futures? At St. Kitts Credit Union, we're more than a financial institution. We're a family that believes in your potential, rooted in people helping people. Enjoy competitive savings rates and low-interest loans for mortgages, vehicles, education, and more. Need security for you or your loved ones? The Family Indemnity Plan and Loan Protection Insurance give your loved ones peace of mind, whether you're saving for school, building your business, or planning for tomorrow. SKCU is here for you. It's not just about banking, it's about belonging. Contact us at 465-2272 or any of our branches. Learn more online at www.skccu.com. Become a member today and be a part of something greater.
Hey, Webmaster here. I stay connected to Freedom with the Freedom SKN app. Simply search for the Freedom app in the Android's Play Store or the Apple's App Store and download it. Enjoy world-class radio at its best, anytime, anywhere. Become a Freedom apper today.
Welcome back. You are listening to Freedom FM 106.5. We are broadcasting from Sugar City, St. Kitts. We are discussing the implication for the Caribbean for changing immigration policy, U.S. immigration policy. And we are seeking to educate so that people can understand and how they can relate or respond to those changes. That is very important. Yes. Now, the line is open. The numbers to call is 662-1065, 465-6474, or 465-0546. The difficulties arising from the U.S. delinking with the Caribbean is that it is happening at a time when prices are galloping for both businesses and particularly for consumers. Joblessness is on the increase. Joblessness is on the increase. You're on air, please.
Hello, good afternoon, Peter. How are you?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, I had a heck of a good time yesterday. That was good.
I have very good time too. I had been to many of those events, but I think this time the organizers, they beat it all, man. And I hope that this will be the platform for things to come.
Man, I even say when Independent Day, we should have something like that.
I think it's more than independent, man. I think we need to consolidate ourselves. There are too many of us there, and we have many rich people like you. We need to consolidate ourselves, and we need to meet regularly, man. We need to be able to have dinners, we have lunch, go by the beach, and we need also to be able to mobilize money for St. Lucia, man. Things are rough in St. Lucia, man. We need to be able to help our people, man. We need to come together and also take projects in St. Kitts so we can say, this is what this country has been good to us, and this is what we have done in this country. What about that?
That sounds good. That sounds good. But Peter, now, to the program now. I believe the U.S. wake up overnight and realize we are more losing than gaining. Because when you think about it, people going into the U.S. have children, collecting money. What U.S. are really gaining from that? Not much. I believe U.S. wake up a little bit too late, though. But I cannot wrong them for certain decision that they took. Because if the dance can't pay for the light, it's better sometime you shut it down.
And I think about even back here in St. Kitts, I find that the government system also have too much of program where money is going out. The question I have to ask myself, are we making money from those programs that what we call social programs?
That's a good point. Go on. I'm writing down, yes.
Yeah, are we making money from those things? Because everybody would like to know every morning they wake up, somebody could give them something free. But at the end of this day, look at what is happening right now there, or what Jamaica about to experience. Do we have money put aside for when those things occur in our country? We have money put aside. We can't just think about free hand all the time. And I believe it is about time that government should cut down some of those social programs and save more for a rainy day. I'll check back, Peter.
Very nice. Nice conversation. All right, let me respond to you now. I love the that doesn't mean I agree with it, but I love the points that the 3 points that the caller have made. The first one he says that the yes, he says money going out. Okay. Part of the government transfer, and that is very heavy, like I showed last week, that is taking quite a chunk in the government's revenue. I showed that last week. And in fact, I'm going to bring back a table here to show you that this government in St. Kitts is making more transfer than many other countries in the Caribbean, and some of them even outside of the Caribbean. But I have a database, I have worked on that. Maybe by the budget time I'm going to bring it. And one particular point on this, what the caller says, that just come to mind. This individual calls from overseas, and he is a fairly well person, doing well, and in a country that is fairly wealthy. But he got the CBI dividend before somebody else in St. Kitts got. And he called the person in St. Kitts and asked them if they had gotten the CBI dividend, because his is already entered in his account. I think all of that, IMF speak on this thing. You have to rationalize the transfer program. Yes, okay. You on air, we'll take you. I'll come back to that. You on air, please. Okay, we lost the person. So the point is that perhaps okay, you on air. You on air, please.
Good afternoon, my good friend Peter.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you? I haven't seen you. You ain't coming to the court of conscience at all.
Boy, I pass in there, boy, I ain't seeing you. But when maybe the time that I pass, Peter, I don't see you, man. In fact, I plan to go up to the fellas. I remember I told you I'm coming up to the up there to see my old man over there. But you were supposed to tell me when to come.
My little input today is about America hostility in the Caribbean. We're not going to tolerate it, my good friend Peter. The U.S. have no call to bring in no nuclear weapons in the Caribbean region water. And all the Caribbean leaders, they seems to be dragging the foot behind this thing. If they have a problem with Maduro, with the narcotic gang them in South America, get them, hold them, carry them in the U.S. court. Don't come and shooting nobody and killing nobody and you ain't providing the evidence. That's his charge. That is what crime this wicked fella Donald Trump is doing and creating in the Caribbean. That we can't have it there. We cannot have it like that. It's not laws, Peter, and the books. Human rights. You can't just watching people and feel like you could do them as they like. I was here in my penthouse listening you tentatively, hearing all the vagabond behavior where this guy going on is. The better these people was voting the lady, Kamala Harris, and that is what the world people do to their own self, people in the world, who live in the United States, go out massively, go vote for that dog Donald Trump. The man is crazy. The man just about all himself. Check that the Bitcoin. The man breaking the US laws with the Bitcoin. The man is the president and running all kind of deal in America. But move until when they catch it. All the old man them over there in the bearing ground. Don't leave that here. Move until they catch it. I hope I around. I hope my pretty flowers and board box don't come by the time he left office. Because this guy got a lot to tell people. It's crazy. Look what he's trying to do in America, in the Caribbean. It's terrible, Peter, and we ain't going to allow it. And I want to hear something from the leader of CARICOM. He's Diamond. That position there shouldn't be so Diamond. The minister of CARICOM should be coming to CARICOM people and telling us what's going on. You can't hear the guy. No leadership. We ain't standing to them kind of things. Right now, Caribbean people should be setting up to demonstrate in all the member states. Because we can't allow America to do us like that. America don't cut us off since in the early 50s. They're contributing nothing to the Caribbean. The Caribbean is struggling and fighting. And he wants to come down here. None of the West president never behave like that. Look what this guy is doing. Nuclear arsenal the man bring in the Caribbean. Peter, you have a good day.
Thank you very much, caller. Now, I want to finish my comment on the previous caller, and then this caller have raised some very important points. So let me go quickly on the other one and whatever. But as I said, whenever the calls come in, I stop and take. Okay, so there's nobody online now. Okay, the CBI. So I was saying that we have to, when government transfer, we have to rationalize the disbursement of the transfer, or whether it's in the form of tax break or cash or whatever. In other words, we have to be able to make sure that the transfer go to area of need, and the transfer go particularly to the area of need. That's the point that the caller was making. Another one that the point is the caller is making is, he says to limit transfer or to cut on transfer. Now that is important. If you cut on transfer, however, you must do two things because it's two blades of the scissors. So if you cut on transfer, because what the transfer is, cash or tax break you give so that the household or the individual can cushion the pressure of high price or economic hardship and whatever. That's what you do, in other words, to make sure that the people maintain a certain level of dignity. But if you cut, it means you must create employment. That's important. That's very, very important. And what the government is doing now, we have seen that government is becoming, if you want, an employer of last resort. In other words, they are trying to absorb as many idle people in the labor market, employ them in the government. But you can't do that. If you do that at the same time, you must meet the cost for that. So which means that your payroll is going to expand and balloon. So in a sense, what you want to do is to make sure that the private sector gets energized and create the kind of employment so that the idle people can be absorbed. In fact, we're going to talk more about that when we come to the budget. A lot of discussion we will take on the budget because we have to wait. Maybe the government has tremendous programs and projects that they want to roll out. So you don't want to preempt them so that we have whatever. Now, the other point is that the previous caller was making. He's saying, okay, let us look at what is happening in Jamaica. But the point that underlines what he's saying is you have to create the capacity so that when bad times come, you can take care of yourself. You can finance yourself, because we are living in a world now, long before when the hurricane came, like I said in a previous talk show, we go and cry to America, or we go and exaggerate to America and tell America it's apocalyptic, and then they send food and they send money and this and that. We are not in that time anymore. The new administration in America, they don't give money. They make deals. And the Caribbean has very little to offer. Some of the things that we have to offer, they don't want it. We have sand, seawater, and in St. Lucia we have a lot of sulfur. They don't want that. So what the caller was saying is government must beef up their savings. But as I showed last week, instead of beefing up savings, the government of St. Kitts, they are drying up their savings. I gave you all the statistics. I showed you that under the Harris administration, in spite of the COVID-19, he was able to build savings, serious savings, although he was financing activity for government expenditure. But what we see now, not only that, deficit is increasing, but savings is drying up. The caller was asking for government to revisit that. Now, going back to just the previous caller, because we don't have very much time now. He spoke about the Caribbean is a zone of peace. That's the essence he was making. He said the Caribbean is a zone of peace, and the Caribbean is not a place we want to be militarized. And we have always taken that position. Our leaders in the past have done that. They have stood by that. There was only one time the Caribbean leaders came together, and they said it was to free the people of Grenada during the armed revolution by Hudson Austin and Bernard Cord, and after the death of Bishop. Then they joined forces with America to invade Grenada. Okay, you online, please. I'll come back to that. You online, please.
Hi, pleasant day.
Good afternoon.
I was accidentally listening to you a while now, and I appreciate your economic background and all the information. But in watching the economy, I was also saying to myself, why is the government bringing in so many persons to work on these developments? I was wondering all the time, but then I looked at it and said, it got to be the government is broke. That is why they're bringing all these persons to do these projects and not even giving the local. But I was saying to myself, even if they brought them in, they could have negotiated 50-50. You use 50% locals, and if they want to bring in the people, they could have bring the other 50%, because I really do not like to go on these projects and see all these Indians that they bring in, and there's no local people. So how are we supposed to get a trickle-down effect? Mm-hmm. All the money is going to stay in these people's hands and go out of the country. So that is why we're going to still end up being broke. And that is part of the reason why our economy is so slow also, because we are not getting any money from these projects that are going on. If a two locals were there on these developments, I mean, we could have a trickle-down effect. They would have booked, they would have give a girl money, the girl would have pay her bills and support her child, whatever. But our economy is stagnant, and as you said, we don't have any money now. Everything's turned off. And as you say again, during COVID, the government had money. But I assume that it's because they never traveled as much as this administration also. I'm not. I don't agree with the traveling. Honestly to God, I don't agree with all these traveling because when I was in school, university, sometimes we had meetings on Zoom because we can't afford to travel. And even in my office today, some of us don't get to travel. We take the meetings on Zoom. So that is also a next where they could look into it because I am sure that these meetings have Zoom. I am positive these meetings have Zoom. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you being on today, and I really love it. I don't get to listen it as much, but I really love your comment.
Thank you so very much, and thank you for the encouragement. That is great.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. That is why I love to do this thing, and I tell the management I don't need their money. I'm not doing this thing for money. I think I have been in St. Kitts since 1991, and I don't know. I'm not boasting that. I love St. Kitts and the people love me. I know that. Everybody can't love me, but people love me. And I see that's part of my giving back. I love public education. It takes me a lot to prepare those programs. I do research, I drive around, I do all kind of things. I have meetings and so on. But I believe somebody must take the responsibility of educating the public. Somebody must tell them what is correct, what is 1 and 1 plus 2, without mopping it up with politics, whether PAM or Labour or Unity. And that's my job. Now, let me continue. Somebody's on. Okay, you on air. So I'll respond to them. Maybe I'll take it next time. You on air, please.
Adrien.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, quickly. We tell Julie Wednesday, me and we thank God for you.
You, sir.
So me go support the lady. Me love the Stalin just now. Me go thank God for you because you see the government system now educate the population at all. So it's appreciated right around the clock.
Thank you for that. I need that love. I need that.
Yes. And look, let me
some people not happy with me because they want me to speak politics. They want me to take the data and say what the data is not saying, to turn it in favor of PAM or of Labour. But I will never do that.
Never
do that.
Never.
Anything I have to sell in this country, I've always said, is my integrity. And throughout the Caribbean, people know me of an economist with integrity. I'm not for sale. I'm not for sale.
Exactly. Adrien, I love you. And let me finish with this note. The lady said that, you see, I got the same problem right in a month shot. Let me give the lady the answer for you. They say that when they send out tenders, big tender for jobs and so, it's the international market. Adrien, you will tell me the right wrong. It's international market. So they say when it's on the international market, you can't negotiate. I don't know how they get that. You can't negotiate. So that will happen. The people know that win the bid on the international market, then just come and do what they want because the local government them say can't negotiate with them. Adrien, tell me if that's the right or wrong. Okay then. Good.
He's gone?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm taking notes on what you are saying, and I'm putting all the things down because I want to respond to the callers in sequence. So even if I don't respond to yours now, I'm going to bring it back. Okay, thank you very much. So let me go back because we don't have much time, just about 3 minutes left. Let me go back, and now the last caller who just called me, the lady, I'm going to take your questions and I'm going to come back. When I come back in the next talk show, I'm going to deal with it because you made some very good points about the nature of the investment, how much employment the investment is creating. You identify the Asians and the number of Asians employee on their project. vis-a-vis the number of locals. You spoke about the job creation. You spoke about government posture on expenditure. You spoke about the line item travel and so on. All of this we'll deal with. But a lot of what you say there, we are going to deal with that matter when we deal with the budget. That is why when I started, I said, for this year's budget, we are going to have 2, 3 or 4 talk show on the budget, because I am going to take the budget and I'm going to dissect the budget. I am really going to dissect the budget. I'm going to bring people inside there who knows about the budget. Well, I am training budget too at IMF, so I'm going to deal with that. And we go, so it might take 2 or 3. So if you do not hear us deal with that, because next week we are dealing with the World Economic Report. But we will deal with it during the budget. Just like those items like the CBI I have reserved for the budget, And why after the budget? Because we want to hear in the budget, what is it that the government is doing? We want their plan. The budget is their plan of expenditure. So when they give us the plan, then we are going to examine it. That's what we are going to do. So let me just finish with the caller with respect to the militarization of the Caribbean. There was a letter that was sent by the Caribbean legends, not cricket legends this time, not Vivian, Brian Lara and them. That is all the legendary prime ministers who have passed, like P.J. Patterson, Baldwin Spencer, name them, a number of them in Antigua, St. Lucia, name them. They wrote to CARICOM advising them that they must not militarize the area, allow America, because as we speak, Trinidad, America is using Trinidad's, if you want, exclusive zone to prepare for the attack on Venezuela. I don't believe they will ask St. Kitts, because St. Kitts is too far. They are actually targeting those countries that are, or CARICOM countries that have closer proximity to Venezuela. Now, I don't have the time to deal with that. We'll certainly deal with that. But I want Caribbean people to remember when we had problems, serious problem with inflation, with the price of oil. Don't forget PetroCarib. Don't forget PetroCarib. It was PetroCarib that freed us. I have passed my time. We are going to come to this. We are going to discuss that issue. I'm going to the last caller. I'm going to reserve your issues that you raise for the budget area. When I come back next week, we'll be discussing the World Economic Outlook. And all I can tell you, it spells bad news. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your participation. It was great that you were on the program. Without you on the program, our program does not have the educational value. Take good care until we meet next Monday. Same time, same place on the world-class radio that is unchallenged, Freedom FM 106.5. Bye-bye.
World-class radio at its finest. At its finest.